A lot of people don't know this about me, but one of my very first jobs when I was going to high school in Southern California was at Disneyland. That's right. I was in the parades. I was hiding my face behind a costume. No one ever saw me, but I remember I had to be clean shaven every single day. There was no facial hair allowed at Disneyland. It was part of the rules. No one could have any, not even stubble, let alone a mustache and a beard. That's why I was personally offended when I saw this video emerge from a family's visit to the happiest place on earth. Take a look.
So my name's Nick. I'm one of Fairy Godmother's apprentices. I'm here to shop you around and make all your selections for the day.
Yeah, that's right. Apparently, they've changed the rules about facial hair as long as you're wearing a dress. So, what to make of Cinderfella, and how can we push back against Disney's continuing assault on our kids, our children? John Nolte is the voice of reason over at Breitbart, my old colleague from many years past. John, why is this so hard for companies like Disney to understand? This used to be safe haven for families and their kids.
They don't want to understand it. I mean, they're targeting our children, underage children, for sexual exploitation. That's what they're doing. And if you look at Disney stock, and if you look at their movies, and their streaming service, they're willing to lose billions of dollars to sexually exploit your child. They're trying to turn our children into easily exploitable individuals, neurotics, very unhappy neurotics, and having a transvestite greet a little kid at Disneyland. It's something no one would have dreamt of 10 years ago, when we were told, hey, we just want to get married. That's all we want to do. We just want to be left alone. Well, here we are. Transvestites are greeting our children at Disneyland.
Yeah, and the whole pride movement that we're seeing this month, that started as we don't want to get beat up, we don't want to get gay bashed, we don't want to get bullied, and of course, nobody wants anyone to be treated violently, of course. So we're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And now it manifests to this sort of behavior. And you're right to call this a transvestite. This is a dude who goes by the name Nick, has a mustache, but he wears a dress and identifies with
Yeah.
the princess class there at Disneyland. This is, I mean, at any other time in our history, we would call this sexual deviancy.
Yeah, I mean, he's what he is doing, and what Disney is allowing him to do, because they know it'll pervert our kids, they know it'll destroy the innocence of our children, is he's acting out his sexual fetish in front of little kids.
That's
And
right.
it's absolutely grotesque. And no sane parent, no decent parent leaves their child alone with the Walt Disney Company. It's just, I can't believe a parent would expose their innocent little children to something like this. It's totally inappropriate. And I'm a free speech extremist. You know that, Larry.
Yes.
I'm not someone who has ever wanted Hollywood to die. I'm not someone who believes that anyone should be censored. But once you target little kids for sexual exploitation, once you expose little kids in this way for the purpose of exploiting them, for stripping them of their innocence, everything bad you deserve to have happen to you. I'm not talking about violence or anything like that, but Disney's stock is in the tank, its brand is in the tank, and Disney deserves all of that. And
Yeah.
what they are doing is demonic. It's outright demonic. And it just boggles my mind that a parent would expose their kids to something like this. You're supposed to protect your children. You're supposed to protect their innocence. It's one thing to sneak a Playboy. It's another thing to have your dad leaf through it with you. I mean, that changes your perception of adulthood. It changes your perception of your father. And
That's right.
having your kids hosted by a transvestite is the same thing, and it's just inexcusable.
It's a great point, John. We don't need any more science or study. We know exactly how corrupting this is for children, how it affects their adult life. It's a horrible thing to introduce a child to before they're ready. And by the way, you as a parent may not be ready. You don't have a choice because Disney, through their policy, is pushing it on you. In our final minute here, you make an important distinction in your latest column at Breitbart, comparing this to the Bud Light situation, which you actually make an interesting differentiation here.
Yeah, Bud Light is an adult beverage company, and if they want to do business with a weirdo like Dylan Mulvaney, another transvestite, a guy who's basically doing minstrelsy of women as he prances around like an astonished reindeer, I don't. That's fine. I don't like it, but that's fine with me because they're not targeting children. Bud Light,
Yeah.
alcohol, you have to be 21 years old. So you want to do business with a transvestite, that's fine. But Target and Disney, What they're doing, that's where they cross a line. And that has to be a deep red line that we as the public do not allow them to cross. But if
Well said.
adults want to
Very
hang out with a bunch of drag queens, that doesn't bother me. I don't, we've coexisted with transsexuals and transvestites and drag queens for as long as I've been alive. We've never had a problem. You guys go
yeah.
live your lives, we'll live our lives. But now they want our kids. And now they're trying to tell us how to talk. They're trying to say, well, you need to use my pronouns. And they're trying to gaslight us and bully us and shove us around by telling a lie that they can magically transform into a woman. And that's a very different thing than what we've had for the last 50 or 60 years. And it's just, that's where I draw the line. Don't tell me how to talk. Leave the kids alone. We'll get along fine. But they refuse to do that. They pick this fight, and it's a political fight, obviously, and hopefully they're going to lose.
Yeah, John, a couple minutes more here because I think this is an important distinction. And by the way, it's a very smart column that he's written at Breitbart News. So I do implore you to take a look at it. Because, John, again, this isn't about tolerance. You use the term coexist, and we've been able to coexist. Tolerance. These were the words that used to be thrown about. But boy, how quickly this is bridged now to coming up the escalator at your local Target and seeing the first thing in front of you, shirts designed for 2-year-olds that say queer all over them. I mean, that was lightning fast how we went from one place to the next.
Yeah, and that was always the plan. And that's why I oppose gay marriage. I've been in favor of committed same-sex couples enjoying the exact same rights as married couples since I can remember, before the Democrats were in the 80s, because that's just fair to me. I never had a problem with homosexuals serving in the military. That is not, who cares? But calling
Right.
it marriage, once you cross that line into marriage, you open up this Pandora's box. You open up the Pandora box that the church will be attacked for not conducting same-sex marriages. And of course, if I had told you during the gay marriage debate that Disneyland will have transvestites greeting little children within 10 years, I would have been called a homophobe and a conspiracy theorist. But that's what they do. And here we are. So I ask, keeping that in mind, how far away are we from the left embracing bestiality? How far away are we from that, where a Disney character falls in love with an animal of some kind? It's going to happen, because the whole idea is to destroy reality and destroy our kids, to turn them into little unhappy neurotics, because unhappy neurotics are easy to sexually exploit, and they vote for Democrats.
Uh, does the pushback work, though? I mean, Bud Light has lost about $27 million in market cap now. Target is down. I think I saw a stat that said $10 billion. And I think even our old friend Andrew Breitbart's beloved Los Angeles Dodgers are really going to feel some pain, because they not only decided to go in this very extreme position, but they're actually offending Catholics and Christians by giving an award to a blasphemous group that treats the Christian faith as a dirty punchline.
Yeah,
Is the
that's a hate
pushback going to
group.
work that we're seeing right now?
Yeah, that's a hate group. What the Dodgers have invited a hate group, and they're going to give a hate group an award. That's a very different thing from just
Yeah.
adults living their own lives, from live and let live. And I'm opposed to boycotts. I don't like boycotts. I think boycotts are fascist. But once you target children, all that goes out the window. And these organizations, and having a bunch of blasphemous haters dressed as women running around a ball field in front of children, crosses the line. Like I said, I caught a lot of hell for defending Bud Light, because I think Bud Light should be left alone. But it's very different when you go after kids, when you expose kids to this, and they deserve to be boycotted out of existence.